We will be discussing today the Ten Commandments and what they represent. These are the laws that God had given us to guide our lives in the right direction. The first 5 commandments show our relationship with God, and the last 5 show our relationship with others. All right, the first commandment is thou shalt have no other God before me. That represents faithfulness, because never let anyone or anything prevent you from obeying and serving God. God is the supreme authority in our lives. He alone is God, and we should never allow anyone or anybody to have first place in our life. That means we are supposed to be faithful to Him and Him alone. So that's what thou shalt have no other God before me represent, faithfulness to God. Number 2, thou shalt not make any graven images. That mean praise or worship. God is a jealous God, and we shall not bow down to anything or anything that's meaningless, that cannot help us or pick us up or love us or anything. Why should we worship something that cannot carry us like the way God is? God carries us. But when we start worshiping idols and praising idols, something that not even you can just hold in your hand, that's not going to work. So number 2 is represent worship or praise. Number 3 is thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. That represents respect. We should love, honor, and give God the respect and honor His holy name deserves. We should not use God's name in cursing, profanity, or wrongdoings. That is respect for God and what He means to us in our lives. We should always respect God. And number 5 is remember the Sabbath day. Number 4, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. That means rest and get refreshed. God told us to remember the Sabbath day. It's a time for He has set apart for us to sit down, rest, and refresh our minds as well as our bodies, so that we can draw closer to Him. And number 5, honor your father and your mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. We should show love to our parents by obeying them without complaining, arguing, or talking back. And this is the only commandment that has a promise. God said, your days shall be long upon the earth. When we are obedient to our parents, that let us know we can be obedient to God. And that will lengthen our days when we obey God as well as our parents. And when we don't obey Him, our days will be cut short. And number 6, thou shalt not kill. That represents taking human life. God don't want us to murder or kill anyone, because we are made in His image. And He is the only one that has authority to kill or take someone's life. But God don't take anyone's life. He gives us life. So we should be as God. We're not supposed to murder or take any other human being life. God is the giver of life, and He alone has the authority to take it, and not us. And number 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. That means purity in marriage. Having sexual relationship with someone other than your spouse. This includes all variety of sex, whether oral sex or any other type of sex. Anything that you pervert your marriage with, going outside the bonds of marriage. God do not like that. We are supposed to have purity in our marriage. We are supposed to be faithful to our spouses and not do anything that would defile our marriages. And number 8 is thou shalt not steal. That represents integrity. We should do the right thing at all times. We are not to take what belongs to someone else. Because look what God said in Malachi 3, verse 8 and 9. He said, will a man rob God? But you have robbed me in tithes and offering. When we don't pay our tithes, give our offering, God said we have robbed him. And God said a robber will not get into the kingdom of heaven. So we're not supposed to have the integrity not to take what belongs to someone else. And number 9, thou shalt not bear false witness against the neighbor. That means we should not lie one to another, and we shouldn't lie to God, because we can't lie to God. No matter what, he knows our heart and the intent of our heart. We should always tell the truth, even when it's easier to tell a lie. And thou shalt not covet. That means satisfied. We should be satisfied with what God has given us. Covet is desiring what someone else has, and you would do anything to get what someone else has. We should be satisfied with what God has given us and be thankful, because what God has given, he is able to multiply. So we should not want what belongs to someone else to the point that we'll do anything to get it. So that's what those 10 commandments represent. Remember, number 10, thou shalt not covet. That means satisfied. Number 9, thou shalt not lie. That means that we should be truthful at all times. Number 8 is integrity. We should not steal from anybody. We should do the right thing at all times. Number 7 is purity in marriage, that we should not commit adultery. And number 6 is we shall not kill. That means we should not take a human life. Number 5, we got to honor our parents, our father, our mother. That means obey them in every situation. And number 4, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. That means refresh and rest. We're supposed to rest our minds as well as our bodies, so we can draw closer to God. Number 3 is thou shalt not take the name of our God in vain. That means we got to respect God and not use his name when we curse and use profanity or in swearing to the wrong things. And number 2, we shall not make any graven image. We shall not worship anything but God. No matter if it's a dog, cat, person, anything that you put before God where you would never have it. And the number 1 is, thou shalt have no other God before me. That means faithful. We have to be faithful and loyal to God. He is our first priority. Now this is what the 10 Commandments and what they represent. A lot of people say the 10 Commandments has been abolished. But as you can see, we are still obeying these 10 Commandments as of now. So this is what they represent. I hope they were helpful to you. In Jesus' name.